And guys, for me, this is a strong indication that basically what I see going on here is, after the 2017 bull run, people were just overly hyped on crypto and Bitcoin, and they thought that it could never see prices like $3,000 again. That was unthinkable during this range. And right now it's almost the opposite. People are so used to Bitcoin being bearish. They think that Bitcoin can never see prices like 20,000 again, right? I see a very similar thing going on here. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin. Recently, the global markets have seen a lot of fear. We've seen record drops in some of the top indexes in the US stock market and foreign markets as well. And in my last video, we were discussing how the traditional markets can sometimes correlate with Bitcoin during extreme environments. It's pretty clear that the panic that we saw in the traditional markets did have an effect on Bitcoin. And last week, we saw Bitcoin drop about 15% within a week. And today, the traditional markets began to see a recovery, and Bitcoin is beginning to recover as well. As I explained in my last video, Bitcoin doesn't always correlate with the stock market, but there are times when it does. And in that video, I was explaining how it's not a matter of if Bitcoin correlates, it's a matter of when it will correlate. And today we're seeing a bounce back across all the top markets, including Bitcoin. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin on the daily chart, the 4-hour chart, and also the weekly chart. We're going to be discussing why I have remained bullish this entire time. And if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, definitely follow me on Twitter. Recently, I said, don't get too bearish on Bitcoin this close to the halving. That's a dangerous move. The next run-up will catch the bears by surprise. Long term, I'm very bullish, and I think these prices are great levels to be buying. And this morning, the bears definitely got caught by surprise. I noticed that across crypto Twitter, a lot of the top crypto Twitter accounts became overly bearish on Bitcoin. And I just want to stress the importance of that you need to be able to trust your own analysis more than other people's analysis. Do not rely on crypto Twitter accounts to tell you how to trade this market. And before we get into the analysis, all of you guys who watch this channel who have not yet signed up with the CryptoWatch platform, you need to do that right now. CryptoWatch is a very unique platform. The platform allows you to trade across all the top exchanges all from one place. You can chart, you can trade, and you can manage your portfolios across all the top exchanges all from one platform. Definitely check out the platform. I highly recommend it. Right now, I'm looking at Bitcoin on the daily chart, and since our peak at 10,500, we did see about a 20% decline to about 8,400. If you take out your fib retracement tool and you go from swing low at 6,430 to swing high at 10,500, you can see that Bitcoin did come back to retest the 50% retrace and held that level and has since then bounced. Generally, the 50% retrace is a great level to bounce off of. Basic technical analysis suggests that after a major impulse up, getting a pullback to the 50% retrace, holding that level and getting a bounce is a very bullish sign. Now, a lot of people recently have been worried about the 200-day moving average. Recently, we saw a drop below the 200-day moving average, but now we're actually moving above it again. As I was saying before, overall, the markets in general have been quite bearish because of the global market fear. So it seems like we've seen some slippage below some key moving averages, but overall, it's not really a big deal. We are beginning to move back above the 200-day moving average, which is a bullish sign. On the daily chart, we are bullishly engulfing right now, and if we can get some daily candles to close above the 200-day moving average, that would signify that Bitcoin is very likely looking for a continued bullish reversal. And looking at the 4-hour chart, we did get some bullish divergence here, and we are starting to see Bitcoin push back up. We do have a lot of room to move up still. And looking at the daily RSI, we can see that Bitcoin is holding the 35 level. We are beginning to round off, and it looks like we do have a lot of room to move to the upside according to the RSI. And if we can get a daily candle close above the 200-day moving average, this would incite much more bullish sentiment in the market, and I do think we would see a continued recovery. And if this recovery can continue, then that would show that Bitcoin is forming a bullish reversal in the macro trend. We would be seeing an increase in momentum for the bulls in the long term. Looking at the weekly chart, if Bitcoin does continue to see more action to the upside, we would see an area of lows, an area of lower lows, and an area of higher lows, and this would indicate an increase in momentum for the bulls for the long term. Of course, people know this as an inverse head and shoulders pattern, but more importantly, what this type of price action indicates is that the bulls are gaining momentum. And again, guys, looking at the long term here, Bitcoin saw lows above 3,100. We saw higher lows now above 6,400, and we are beginning to create another low at 8,400. Steady higher lows on the macro trend. This is very bullish. We are holding above this upward sloping trend line. We are beginning to push back above the 21-week EMA, which, as you know, is historically very key indicator for Bitcoin. And everything right now is looking really good for Bitcoin. A lot of analysts in the crypto space have been keeping a close eye on the 200-day moving average. And as you guys know, on this channel, we've been keeping a very close eye on the 21-week EMA. We did see slight price action below these moving averages, but already we are beginning to recover and we are beginning to push back above these moving averages. So overall, we are still holding these key moving averages. Looking at the parabolic stop and reverse indicator on the weekly chart, this is a great indicator to identify trends and trend reversals. Recently, the parabolic stop and reverse indicator became bullish. As Bitcoin started to round off the bottom at 64.30 and began to break out of this downward sloping price channel, the parabolic stop and reverse indicator gave us that bullish signal. And we've been trending up with this indicator on the weekly ever since. And we are still remaining bullish according to the parabolic stop and reverse indicator, which is also another bullish sign in my opinion. And as you guys know, I'm very focused on macro trend identification. What you'll notice on this channel is that my analysis stays the same for many months at a time in terms of the macro trend. And if you guys have been watching this channel since the summer, we've been looking for a larger scale parabolic formation to form. We were looking for as low as 7,200. We did dip a little bit below that, but overall we got the structure we were looking for. We've been talking about finding this type of larger scale macro structure since the summer. Since we were within that descending triangle, we were looking for this. And as I was talking about in the summer, we were looking for this larger scale type of structure to come into the market. We were looking for a larger scale uptrend to form at lower prices, and we are getting that exact type of structure to play out right now. Bitcoin is now seeing a higher low at 8,400, which tells me that the bulls have control in the long term, and very likely 2020 will be a bullish year for Bitcoin. A key thing to understand about Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is inflationary, but the inflation decreases over time. And this creates a systematic increase of demand, a systematic increase in price, and this also gives miners incentive to push the price higher as the mining rewards get cut in half. And if you look at both of the previous halving cycles, a very similar story plays out in both cycles. We see a bear market low, one parabolic advance, two parabolic advances, and a break of the all-time high. In the next halving cycle, we see a bear market low, one parabolic advance, two parabolic advances, and a break of the all-time high. And in this halving cycle right now, we've seen a bear market low and one parabolic advance. And as I've just been discussing, Bitcoin is still holding this trend, right? We are still holding this uptrend. We have that low just above 3,100, a higher low just above 6,400, and now we're creating a higher low at 8,400. This is overall very bullish for Bitcoin in the long term. But overall in this channel, this is the type of structure that we're looking for going into the halving. And as long as we can remain above the 21-week EMA, things will remain very bullish for Bitcoin going into the halving. So a lot of people recently have been calling me a perma bull, right? They've been saying, Kevin, you're just too bullish on Bitcoin. You can't stay this bullish on Bitcoin. We're seeing downside or whatever. Guys, my channel is known for being very consistent about my macro trend view. And I put out a tweet recently and I said, today, some people have been calling me a perma bull. This reminds me of 2018 when I was bearish all year and everyone called me a perma bear, but I was right in the end. I think the same thing will happen this time around. Bitcoin is long-term bullish. In January of 2018, I was calling for the crypto bubble to pop and for us to test prices as low as $2,500. Of course, that prediction was off by about $600, but it was still pretty close. Every time Bitcoin saw a bounce in 2018, people came back to tell me how wrong I was. People came back to say, Kevin, your outlook on Bitcoin is wrong. We're still bullish. Every time we saw a bounce, this happened. People called me a perma bear. And recently, guys, I've become a lot more bullish on Bitcoin in this range. And right now, for the first time so far, I just got called a perma bull by multiple people, right? I got called a perma bull by multiple people during this dip. And I think that I'm seeing an inverse similarity. In 2018, we were seeing lower highs. People were calling me a perma bear. And in 2020, we're seeing higher lows. And people are calling me a perma bull. And guys, for me, this is a strong indication that basically basically what I see going on here is, after the 2017 bull run, people were just overly hyped on crypto and Bitcoin, and they thought that it could never see prices like $3,000 again. That was unthinkable during this range. And right now it's almost the opposite. People are so used to Bitcoin being bearish. They think that Bitcoin can never see prices like 20,000 again, right? I see a very similar thing going on here. And I just felt the need to explain this psychology. Guys, I am very bullish on Bitcoin long term, right? As long as we're remaining above this upward sloping trend and we are continuing to create higher lows on the macro trend, then things are obviously very bullish for Bitcoin. If we begin to trend below this upward sloping trend line, then of course things change. Things become a lot more bearish at that point. But right now we are remaining above the 21-week EMA, which is an important indicator, important moving average in my opinion. And we are beginning to see longer-term bullish structure come to the market, potential increase in momentum for the bulls here, and we're seeing overall higher lows on the macro trend. This is all of these things just point to Bitcoin being bullish long-term. So I got to remain bullish on Bitcoin, guys. And as of right now, my macro analysis has not changed. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and guys, be sure to sign up with the CryptoWatch platform. If you haven't signed up already, click that link below. It doesn't cost anything to create an account. And if you want to support the channel further, you can join the Patreon and check out what altcoins I'm accumulating. And I will see you guys in the next video.